Good morning, all, and a very, 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 very warm welcome to everyone. We set aside this time for brief announcements that will be of interest to our community and friends. Please be succinct when announcing upcoming events or updates. If you have an announcement, please raise your hand. When Julia or I call on you, come to the podium and unmute yourself and then speak. And the announcements, Randy.
Good morning. Julia, could you advance the slide? Yeah, okay. So you may have seen this last week, but I want to promote this here in this sanctuary a week from today, this next Sunday afternoon. Vicki Hansen will be giving this lecture about caring for those who cared for us. Okay, and this is a 1 hour of very, very vital and very informative information. I hate to use the word twice. But anyway, it's something we should all attend because, again, you might find yourself in a situation where you say, oh my goodness, what do I do? And she will give you lots of answers and good advice and all that. So it's really good stuff. So it's right here and it's free, and so make a note of that. Second, for those of you who are on the worship committee, we will not be having a meeting tomorrow, our usual time. We decided to postpone until next Monday. It's still March, but March 30th will be our meeting. So those on the worship committee, and if you would like to join our meeting, which you're all welcome to, let me know. I'll send you a link. Oh, and then one last thing. We're going to have a brunch after service today with our guest speaker, Heather. And so if you're interested, the first 8 signups will get to sit at the main table. That's just how it works at the restaurant. So if you sign up one of the 8, then you'll get to sit at the table. Otherwise, you'll get to sit nearby, but that's how we're going to work it. You're welcome to join us for brunch, but the first 8 signups will be sitting at one table.
Where's the sign-up sheet?
It's on the whiteboard over there, okay? And it's at the Moonstone Bar and Grill, the usual place, okay?
Dolores?
So I have a straw poll. How many can name everybody in here?
We have some visitors today.
Well, okay, besides the visitors. Okay. Really? So everybody, okay. Well, for those who can't, and for those who need the help, where are your badges? And if you don't have one, because most of you aren't wearing them, there's some that are, okay, you get an A. Okay, yeah, just notify me and I'll get you a badge, okay? Because we're getting to that place where we kind of go, hi, sweetheart.
Appreciate it. Robert?
You know, I've been doing this, I think, for 5 years on and off. Sometimes I come up here, but most often I don't. And hopefully I won't have to very much longer. We're at the end of our pitch for money for the scholarships. The scholarship committee has worked very hard. We have found 11 students who are very worthy of scholarships. And frankly, we could have easily found 22 or 33. There are just so many of these bright young people out there who are deserving and who really have a need. They're unable to come up with the money to go to college all on their own. So I'm up here to make a pitch that you give us money today, but we're going to be back again next week. And I wanted to let you know you're going to have at least one more opportunity. So bring your checkbooks next week. We have some envelopes that say scholarship on them. You can put your check there or your cash. We'll take either. And let me see you here next week. I look forward to raising more money and being able to offer scholarships to 11 students. It'll be a great accomplishment. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Andy Fagan without a name badge. Guilty as charged. I have a little tutorial for you as the secretary of your board of trustees. I don't know how many of you are familiar. Hopefully you're all familiar with our website, which we talk about every week. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the calendar, and if you are, I have a few suggestions to make in terms of how to use that calendar. It's actually chock full of information. If you click on that red tab and get to the calendar, you'll see a typical month's calendar, but because of the limited space, there's not a lot of information that you can get from any given day. But if you click on any given day, you'll see, say for example today, you'll see it opens up a little pop-up that has all the information about today's service. So you get a little more information that way. And if you go even, another good thing to know is up in the right-hand corner where it says month, you can also click on that month. It has a pull-down menu that looks like that, and you can select schedule. And if you select, so this is an interactive calendar, they call this. If you select schedule, lo and behold, you get the same calendar, but in a list format with all the good stuff that's happening here. And once you've looked at this week, you can click that arrow next to today, and it'll advance to the next week, and it gives you all that information. So for example, we're on the Sunday service. I have to change the calendar because the worship committee has postponed their meeting. This Wednesday, the book discussion group is meeting, where we're finishing up Sources of Our Faith. If you want to come here in person, we have an excellent conversation about the sources of our faith, only in person, no Zoom. So please show up for that Wednesday at 4 o'clock, and so on. So you can see that, and in the same way, you can click on any given event in the schedule version, like Vicki Hansen's talk about cherished care, and it will give you the time and the place for that. Now it says 1 o'clock. The side we just had was 2 o'clock. Which is it?
Well, 1 o'clock is we open up the sanctuary for them, so you as the AV person comes.
Okay, so doors open at 1 o'clock, but the talk starts at 2? Yes. All right, great. And then that's it. So there's your calendar tutorial. As the secretary, I'm responsible for putting all of our events in the calendar and hopefully keeping it up to date. So if you have anything to be entered into that calendar for everyone's information, please give me a shout and I will make it appear on that calendar. Thanks.
Welcome. You want to make an announcement?
Hi, everybody. This coming Saturday, the 28th at 5 o'clock, we're having a potluck that I'm hosting here in the sanctuary. So I hope a whole bunch of you can come. Saturday, this coming Saturday, the 28th at 5 in the sanctuary. Yeah, it's not on the calendar. So I can do that if you'd like. Anyway. Then secondly, I spoke to, or I emailed with Marilyn. I forgot their names, Marilyn and Kathleen. Well, you guys know Marilyn and Kathleen. So I heard from Marilyn about Kathleen, who broke her hip. She had her operation. Then she went into a rehab facility in Morro Bay. This a couple of days ago, I think it was Thursday, I heard from Marilyn. She's at the time, Kathleen was doing well. She was recovering, and she wasn't sure when she was going to come home. And at the time, right now, they don't need any assistance, but they may need some when she gets home. Marilyn's going to be busy with Kathleen, so we may, anybody willing to put in a meal, I'll set up the meal train when the time is right, or send them a card, or call and see if you can run an errand, or let me know, and I'll email Marilyn. So I'll just want to let y'all know.
Yeah, just a reminder, today's fourth Sunday, and we're taking our last collection this year for the Salinan tribe, so just keep that in mind.
This afternoon at 4 o'clock here, the Green Space Speaker Series will continue. It's two really great speakers on cultivating conversation in this area. 4 o'clock.
Conservation.
Is that what?
You said conversation.
I meant conservation.
That's what I thought.
We can have a conversation about conversation. Try saying that 5 times. Next week, Reverend Ken Reed Brown from Hingham, Massachusetts, will present I Wonder, Therefore I Am. Now let us take a moment to still our hearts and quiet our minds and center ourselves. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lay down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the place of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. Words by Wendell Berry, author and environmental activist. At this time, Robert will light the chalice here in our sanctuary, and those of you at home are invited to light your own chalice now. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope as a sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. Before we sing our first hymn, let us remind our remote participants to leave yourselves muted. However, we want you and whoever is with you to sing with us as big and loud as you like. Make it a joyous experience. Now please stand in body or spirit and sing the opening hymn, Now Let Us Sing, number 368.
So we're going to have a little fun this morning. We've got a higher part and a lower part, so we're not going to divide it upon gender. It's how you like to sing. And the lower part is that there's a bass clef there. It looks like a backward C. That's the lower part. If you want to sing low, look on that line. And Jan's going to play that part now, because when Jan and I start singing, we're going to be singing the top line. And then we'll take a break and start singing it together. Okay? So she's going to play that part all the way through.
Ready?
Ready? Now move the slide, Julia. There you go. Okay, great. Now we're going to go back and put them together, and we're going to have fun, okay? Okay. From the top. Uh-huh. Let's start again. Sing to the power of the faith within. Sing to the power of the faith within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the faith within.
Okay, so once again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. We're glad that you've joined us today. Our UUCC sanctuary sits on land that the Salinan and Chumash indigenous peoples historically inhabited. A few weeks ago at this pulpit, Michael Woody mentioned an ancient ancestral map which showed all the creeks that are running along Highway 1 on our way down south. Today we give names such as Toro or Via Creek, and every time I drive on that, I think of Michael's comments about that and the importance of those creeks and streams to his ancestors. So we honor their contribution to this region, and we give thanks for the opportunity to gather in faith on their unceded territory. Let us respect their legacy and protect their history as we occupy this sacred space. As Unitarian Universalists, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who journey in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation run by the democratic process. We invite speakers from different religious traditions and spiritual or scientific backgrounds, as well as community leaders, to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics and areas of interest that connect with the UU 7 principles and 6 values: equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, justice, and interdependence, with love at the center. Today's service centers around the value of justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. My name is Steve Nathanson, and I am your worship associate for this morning's service. We extend a special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We're glad you joined us this morning. If you wish, please introduce yourself or your guest. Do we have any visitors today?
Yes, we do. We have some friends of mine, Mary and Nancy.
Welcome. Welcome. Glad you could join us. So if you're not on our mailing list, please visit the UUCC website at uuccambria.org so that we can keep you informed about all of our activities. Members and friends, please check out What's Happening, the UUCC newsletter sent to you every week. This is a great way to keep up to date with our latest news. And to see this or any of the past Zoom services, the recordings can be found on the UUCC website. So once again, good morning and welcome to everyone. The affirmation is both a recognition of the nature of this community as well as a promise to which we aspire. Let us now recite the UUCC affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another. Now is the time for sharing your heartfelt joys and concerns with this, your spiritual community. Please feel free to come forward and briefly express a personal celebration, a sorrow, a reflection, or gratitude. Collective flames of these candles embody all the joys and concerns which may have gone unspoken today, but are also deeply felt in this community. The first reading is a UUA blog titled Trans Joy by Jess Martinez Hunt. I didn't grow up with trans joy. I grew up with longing, quiet adjustments, and learning how to make myself acceptable. I spent years thinking I was broken, desperately trying to fit into something that was never meant for me. I thought that was just life, fighting for every inch of belonging. Then my daughter Atticus came into the world, whole and bright and unabashedly herself, an embodiment of absolute joy, proudly declaring, "I, Atticus," when asked if she was a girl or a boy. She knew who she was and refused to let anyone tell her otherwise. For a while, I let myself hope that she wouldn't have to learn the same survival skills that I did. Maybe she could just be. My daughter deserves a world where she isn't forced to fight so hard to exist, one where her joy is expected, nurtured, and uplifted, a world where trans joy is a certainty. Trans joy is sacred, a radiant and unshakable force that refuses to be diminished, a testament to resilience, authenticity, and love. It is communal, a light passed from one to another, illuminating the path toward a liberation where we could simply be. Holy in its honesty and wholeness, it offers a glimpse of our world as it should be. Not small, not an afterthought, not a reward for enduring suffering. Trans joy is life itself. Bold, expansive proof that we are real, that we belong, that we have always been enough. That world doesn't exist yet, not the way it should. Until it does, I'll make sure that Atticus never doubts her worth. I'll show her that trans joy isn't just possible, it's powerful. It's bigger than the struggle, louder than the hate, more enduring than fear. I'll make sure she faces a future where she isn't just fighting to exist, but living fully, freely, and without apology. In a world that so often seeks to erase, silence, or diminish trans lives, our joy is more than resistance. It is a defiant declaration, an absolute refusal to shrink, a spirited promise that trans folks won't just survive, we will thrive. Let us join now in a time of meditation, of prayer, and of silence. Let us remember as we come together in reflection that not shouts and plaudits of the throng lie triumph, but in ourselves. Let us seek the quiet and the calm, laying aside our struggles. May today there be peace within. May you trust your highest power that you are exactly where you are meant to be. May you not forget the infinite possibilities that are born of faith. May you use those gifts that you have received and pass on the love that has been given to you. Let this presence settle into your bones and allow your soul the freedom to sing and dance. It is there for each and every one of you. Amen. The second reading this morning is an excerpt from the book Pleasure Activism, titled Embodiment, Connected Pleasure, by Adrienne Marie Brown. True pleasure, joy, happiness, and satisfaction has been the force that helps us move beyond the constant struggle, that helps us live and generate futures beyond this dystopic presence, futures worthy of our miraculous lives. Pleasure, embodied, connected pleasure, is one of the ways we know when we are free, that we are always free, that we always have the power to co-create the world. Pleasure helps us move through the times that are unfair, through grief and loneliness, through the terror of genocide, or days when demands are just overwhelming. Pleasure heals the places where our hearts and spirit get wounded. Pleasure reminds us that even in the dark, we are alive. Pleasure is a medicine for the suffering that is absolutely promised in life. Please stand in body or spirit and sing Let Us Sing World, lyrics by Christy Dashelet and music by Paul Winchester. Today's talk is titled Joy is the Secret to Resistance, to be delivered by Heather Vickery. Heather Vickery is the coordinator for congregational activism at the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, UUSC, and she supports UU congregations and other groups that want to do their justice work more effectively and faithfully. In both her paid and unpaid organizing work, she works deeply for trans and migrant liberation through the Pink Haven Coalition and the Community Accompaniment Program with asylum speakers. Heather is also an aspirant for UU ministry and a student at the Star King School for the Ministry. When she is not working and organizing, you can find her and her rescue pup Nova hiking, gardening, and cooking with their loved ones. Please welcome to the pulpit Heather.
Good morning, friends. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here with you all. I'm ecstatic to be here in person. But I also just want to note that these are some difficult times we're living in right now. Our world is full of heartbreak and rage right now. It's hard not to be overwhelmed by the loss of Nicole Renee Good and Alex Preddy in Minneapolis, Keith Porter in Los Angeles, and the less known names of immigrants and other people that have been killed by ICE, and the pervading fear that more lives will be stolen by fascism. The constant attack on trans folks' right to live a full and flourishing life, and the constant threat and now reality of war coming from our blatantly authoritarian administration can make it pretty difficult to sleep at night. It feels like every day there's a new horror and nothing can ever change it. So if you're willing and able, please raise your hand if you felt despair or anguish at the state of the world in, say, the last week. Yeah. Now raise your hand if you're struggling to know what to do or how to resist that increase in fascism. Let's look around real quick. You're not alone. So now that we've started with that really positive note, I will just say again, you are not alone, and that is a joy. As a queer, gender-expansive woman who organizes for trans and migrant liberation, I am right there with you in feeling overwhelming despair often and struggling with fatalism in our current world. But Alice Walker says that resistance is the secret to joy, and I think we can all understand that. As people of faith and conscience, not resisting this is hard to imagine right now. But it can be just as hard to figure out how to resist. The good news is that the inverse to Alice Walker's quote is also true. Joy is the secret to resistance. Fascism and authoritarianism want us to be afraid and disconnected. They fear our joy because it's infinitely bigger than the boxes they want to put us in. So practicing joy in moments like these is resistance, and it's essential. We can look to past struggles to see how true this is. Dan Savage, who writes for The Stranger up in Seattle, where I'm from, says, "During the darkest days of the AIDS crisis, we buried our friends in the morning, we protested in the afternoon, and we danced all night. The dance kept us in the fight because it was the dance we were fighting for. It didn't look like we were going to win then, and we did. It doesn't feel like we're going to win now, but we could. Keep fighting, keep dancing." Please know that when I say practicing joy is resistance, I don't mean ignoring the reality we're in. Joy is not the same as happiness or comfort. Joy has room for grief and fear. Joy just knows that those aren't ever the only things. Joy recognizes that there can still be beauty, community, solidarity, silliness, and more, even during the toughest times. They may be harder to find, but they're even more rewarding when you do because of it. One of my favorite examples of folks already practicing and creating joy together while holding grief and fear is the work of UUSC partner Tetoa Matoa. Tetoa Matoa, based in Kiribati, is dedicated to preserving traditional cultural practices through an inclusive approach, highlighting the importance of safeguarding culture in the face of climate change and making sure that the rich heritage of their island is accessible to all, especially those with disabilities. You see, the islands of Kiribati are projected to be fully underwater in the next 20 to 30 years due to coastal erosion and water level rise. And our partners like Tetoa Matoa allow for the grief of losing the land that they've been on for millennia through no fault of their own. And they make time for the joy of music and culture and have been working with UUSC to provide instruments to community members so that that joy can be brought into the future, wherever they are. Tetoa Matoa knows that supporting their community as they face the devastating impacts of climate change while also championing the rights of indigenous Kiribati people living with physical and mental disabilities, is a way to practice joy. Through storytelling and music, they demand recognition, dignity, and inclusion, not just in policy, but in the very fabric of everyday society. Dr. Tanmeet Sethi, who wrote the book Joy is My Justice, says, "I do not mean that you should accept inequality or injustice as unchangeable truths. Just the opposite. When you find your own joy and create a personal path to justice, which only you can forge, you're better able to right unfairness in the world because you've risen into your power first." And that's the key. We must find both small and large ways to rise into our power and to keep our focus on what we're struggling for, so we don't get overwhelmed by what we're struggling against. Another UUSC partner, the Pink Haven Coalition, is also practicing joy as a way to create justice. So much of the trans experience in this country right now is scary. People are receiving death threats and experiencing violent attacks while also being dehumanized and criminalized by our government. Yet the Pink Haven Coalition, which many UUs across the country are part of, and which you all have supported with your gifts to UUSC, has helped over 1,000 family units relocate to safer places and connect with welcoming and loving communities. An example of practicing joy in the toughest times was when a family let us know that they had received death threats and had been doxxed, i.e. their personal information, including their address, had been publicized. So with very short notice, we were able to connect them to folks in the new, safer city that they were fleeing to. And they decided to welcome them to their new homes with balloons, signs of love, and welcome gifts. They literally lined the driveway where they were arriving. So they knew that they not only would be safer there, but that they were loved. It may seem small, balloons, signs, but we heard back from that family that they had never felt so loved and welcomed before in their lives. Again, these acts of joy are not to be confused with toxic positivity, which would tell that family, once they arrived, that everything was okay, to forget about the trauma and to move on. Those welcoming trans folks fleeing unsafe states know that it will be tough even once people arrive, that their new homes won't be perfect, and that we can't fix the world for them even if we really, really want to. Instead, our practice of joy is a refusal to give up on love. It's a refusal to make ourselves or anyone else smaller out of fear. It's a refusal to be anything other than fully human with each other, even when we're struggling. Another UUSC partner that's a perfect example of this is Asylum Pride House in Philadelphia. Asylum Pride House is at the intersection of migration, LGBTQIA issues, and housing insecurity. So they got a lot going on right now. They have a 5-bedroom home where they house and support with case management queer asylum seekers from around the world. The founder and executive director of Asylum Pride House has said that after working in immigration for over 10 years, this is the worst and hardest it's been for her, the staff, and the residents to maintain hope and motivation. And that's one of the reasons why they chose community-style housing, so that queer asylum seekers can escape the isolation that's so common for that group. Previous residents also often come back to Asylum Pride House to help with tasks or just to visit with current residents and give them hope of what's possible. It isn't uncommon for the house to host community dinners with current and previous residents and staff, including queer asylum seekers from South and Central America, Asia, and Africa all together. And for someone for whom food and sharing meals with people is so incredibly important, if that isn't a joyful vision of the beloved community, I really don't know what is. So what can we all do to practice joy and resist dehumanization and the rise of fascism in our country? We must practice imagining the world we want. And as Ruha Benjamin says in Imagination, a Manifesto, Don't shine a light only on the deadly imaginations and social orders that are killing us, but experiment and play with new prescriptions, visions, and forms of social organization. We need to stay aware of what's going on that's harming those most vulnerable, but we also need to share the joyful ways people are already resisting and have always resisted oppression, just like the stories I've shared with you today. When we're together like we are today, we need to keep the vision of the world we want close, hold it together, and imagine ways we can start living into it in the here and now. You've already started this morning with your joyful conversations and your sharing of your lives. After the service, at coffee hour, or during brunch, look for a way you can make someone smile. Compliment them. Tell a dad joke. Ask someone if they need a hug. Anything. Spark gender joy in our trans and gender expansive beloveds by working hard to get their pronouns right. Know that every time you use someone's correct pronouns, you make a fascist sad. Yeah. Just that is resistance, y'all. Be the person who shares their own pronouns, mine are she, her, so that others can feel more comfortable sharing their own, and so that they know you're an accomplice and an ally. Explore your own gender expression and wear it boldly. Find ways to bring more joy into your life so that you can stay in the struggle and be the best version of yourself while you resist. As I said, as a gender expansive queer woman who organizes for trans and migrant liberation, I am often tired and angry at the world. And something I've started to do to keep myself centered has been creating little pine cone critters and creatures that I randomly leave around my neighborhood. And yes, they do have googly eyes. I feel joy in making them. I feel joy about thinking of other people stumbling upon them. And I can come back to them, sometimes literally, sometimes just in my mind when things get hard. Take a moment right now, close your eyes if it helps, and think about one thing that has brought you joy in the past year. Try to bring yourself back to that moment, or imagine you're with that person or doing that thing right now. Take a few deep breaths in and let the joy spread through your body. And as you exhale, share it with the rest of the room. Now take a moment and think about what the root of that joy was for you. Was it community, creativity, family, something completely different? What is the essence of that joy? Your homework, because I like to give homework, will be to use that essence as a jumping off point to create your own joyful practices, no matter how small, that you can use to keep yourself balanced and whole, because we need you. Ask for help in thinking of something if you need to. Some people find a lot of joy in helping. So as someone helped me here, 2 stones with 1 bird, right? Because we don't want to kill birds. When we find our own joy in the toughest times, we rise into our own power. And that is resistance in and of itself. Stay after the service for more conversation with me. I'd love to hear from you, and we can joyfully share a meal together. But even if you don't, be weird. Be queer. Be beautiful and fully human. Do art. Take naps. Play. Keep dancing. Because that is what we're struggling for, the dance. And I think we can all admit that a dance battle is a lot more fun than any other kind. Amen. Ashe. And may we keep dancing.
As we offer these gifts and lift up our
morning offering will now be given and received. Please remember we are a self-sustaining community and congregation and provide all financial resources for our many ministries. We recognize the spiritual value of generosity and invite you to participate. If you are viewing this service remotely, please use one of the methods shown on the screen. Thank you. Our thanks for these gifts given and received for the work of this community. Now please stand in body or spirit and sing with us the closing hymn, We Will Rise Together, words by Jen Elliker and music by Cliff Harden.
Freedom
As we prepare to extinguish the chalice, let us recite the valediction. We extinguish the flame of this chalice, and we know that the light of truth and love and the warmth of this community go with us until we meet again. And please extinguish your chalice at home now. Now let's form a circle and join hands, and Heather will honor us with some closing words today.
We got it? Okay. May these words carry you through the week. To build the world we want, we must have joy. Resist joyfully, create community, sing, keep dancing in all the things and ways that you do. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.